Hi, everybody. This is David D'Arcangelo. I'm your host tonight. And this is Social X. We have Jim Poole on tonight. Jim Poole, as you know, he's the CEO of Solace Life Sciences, the parent company of NuCalm, which I believe is the most compelling offering our industry's ever seen. And the proof is in the pudding. Every month will be a breakthrough month, Jim. And I think with you and your team and us and ours working together, I think it's going to be a great program. Jim, one question I'd like to ask is, before we get started on the athletics, just give people an update on NuCalm, give them the overview so that everybody, some of the new people can get the background. And then
Awesome. Thank you, David. Welcome, everybody. It is true that NuCalm and this partnership with Social X will transcend and change the industry. I get that. But we haven't seen an industry where NuCalm wasn't foundational to that change. From the Department of Defense to the pilots to professional athletes to doctors to cancer patients. NuCalm is 36 years of clinically proven patented neuroscience, which initially makes us unique anyway. There's not a lot of commercialized neuroscience companies in the world. There's certainly not a lot of companies that spend 36 years trying to figure out how to manage the brain. But we went right to the source. So if you like mathematics, you don't just start in calculus, you start in arithmetic. NuCalm takes advanced complex science, but we're really beginning with the genesis of how the human body lives. We started with your brainwave frequency. Well, David, if you don't have a frequency, you're not alive. So it's kind of foundational for living. We started with the nervous system. Those are the two areas that we have world-class expertise in. What have we done? We created a software with very complex mathematics and algorithms and physics. It is a software. We compose music on top of the software. You put a pair of headphones on, and we use this nonlinear oscillating algorithm to present your brain with precise signals that your brain follows. It's called frequency following response. The beauty of this is, David, is you can't hear what we're doing. Okay. The precision is exceptional. It's all math. Every human's brain on this earth oscillates in the same frequency range. And when your brain is in delta, you're in dreamless like deep sleep. When your brain's in theta, 4 hertz to 7 hertz, you're in cellular restoration and healing. It's that simple. So what we figured out was, how can we dial up or down and modulate like a thermostat the frequency of your brain? To me, it doesn't get any more foundational, but the key here is this. If every human on this earth, 8.4 billion people today, took 20 or 30 minutes out of their day, put a headphone on and an eye mask, selected rescue, down-regulated their frequency to 4 hertz, hovered in that state for 20 or 30 minutes, cleaned their toxins, their mitochondria is restored, oxygenated their prefrontal cortex, they heal. They heal. Imagine what our life would be like if we weren't in this rat race of constant chaos between our ears. That's what NuCalm delivers. So whether we are working with Special Forces elite war fighters, professional athletes, pilots, they all have the same brain. We all have the same brain parts, and it all oscillates in the same range. So the impact we have on humanity is the same. The only difference you will see is where you're starting from. If you're diseased and really scared and just constantly in a state of panic, the profoundness of rescue is bigger. If you're well adjusted and pretty healthy, it's not as big. But we're taking everybody to the same place. So we're a science-based company, everybody. Science means something. Someone today asked me, someone who's smart, said, Jim, what's the difference between calm and NuCalm? I said, well, that can be described in one word. You ready? He said, yes. I said, science. We have science. They don't. Music and entertainment does not change the state of the human brain. I can't heal if I have stage 4 cancer by listening to a bedtime story or a Celine Dion song. It doesn't work that way. So that's where we started. That's who we are. That's what we do. If it sounds too good to be true, of course it does. You'd be crazy not to be like, wow, that sounds too good to be true. But as David and everybody in Social X will tell you, it's even better than it sounds. It is so predictable across the population. It's humbling to witness the impact this is having.
Yeah. The way we explain it is you pick the track, you and NuCalm delivers the experience. It's pretty amazing. Jim, let's back up a little bit. We have professional athletes, we have the college athletes, we have junior high, we've got weekend warriors. What's different in the protocol for each, or is it the same?
There's some nuances that are different only because of scheduling. Weekend warriors aren't living the habit and the tight schedules that a professional athlete's living or a college athlete. But the outcome and what you're looking for, the value proposition of any athlete using NuCalm, it began in 2011. The trainer for the Chicago Blackhawks, now the Blackhawks had won the Stanley Cup in 2010. He had gone to see his surgeon in Chicago, and instead of having anesthesia, he had NuCalm. The next day, he felt different. He loved how he felt. He couldn't believe how quickly he was healing and recovering. He called his surgeon, and he said, "What did you do?" His surgeon called us and said, "Hey, are you interested in speaking to the head trainer of the Chicago Blackhawks? He's really curious about this." That was our entry point into sports. And then for the next 15 years now, we've supported the Chicago Blackhawks. We train them every year. In fact, 2013 and 2015, they won the Stanley Cup again. And in 2015, their medical staff said, without NuCalm, we wouldn't have won the Stanley Cup. On record, which begs the question, what are you talking about? And he said, well, the playoffs are a battle of attrition. You're playing the same team 7 times. There's time zone travel. You hate each other. Our team was always skilled. We didn't have a lot of goons. And when skilled players get gooned up, they start playing in fear. It changes their muscle memory. They start playing skittish. NuCalm kept them strong. There was a quote from the Los Angeles Kings says, it felt like we were playing against zombies. No matter how hard we hit them, nothing stopped. But he had a great quote, which I love. He said, we want our players to play intense, not tense. And so for the athlete, it's really reconciling the lactic acid, the inflammation, the bumps, and the bruises. And you do that by rescue. So rescue was the starting point for all athletic performance. And back then in 2011, rescue was the only product we offered. So there was a protocol. Before you train, do it just to oxygenate and get your body and your muscles clean and ready to go. Then after you train, when you're filled with lactic acid and inflammation, you absolutely need to NuCalm. So that was that process. And then in 2017, we launched the Ignite stuff. So the protocol evolved, but it literally started in 2011 with the Chicago Blackhawks, all the players, the entire organization. And literally, one of the things they also told me is said, we love this NuCalm thing because it's the quiet flights we've ever had when we're done and we're flying back home, man. It's incredible. There's no noise because everybody's just zonked out. Maybe there's some snoring.
Now, take me through Ignite. Everybody here, the first time I listened to Ignite, I was going on a mountain bike ride, and I got on my bike, and I got Ignite, and I got Tony Robbins, and he's barking in my ear, and I'm like, gosh, the first few pedals, I'm going down the street, getting off into the trail, and I'm like, I don't have it today. I just don't have it. An athlete knows when they're on, when they're off. And then I put it on Ignite. I pulled over, put Ignite on, and literally within 5 minutes, it was phenomenal. The jump in energy, the focus, concentration, and just it was hard charging. And I got to call Jim. I called you afterwards, and I'm like, this really works. But that protocol on demand, right? I mean, is absolutely phenomenal. And the average person gets to do that. Professional athletes, are they using the same Ignite I'm using?
Absolutely. So for years, when you see athletes shoot around or they have headphones on, they're walking through the tunnel, going to the locker room, they're listening to Ignite. When they're on the bus, transporting from the hotel to the arena, they're listening to Ignite. At halftime, in between periods, they're listening to Ignite. So they're amplifying and activating. The Ignite piece is fascinating. I think what would be helpful to your audience is to walk through kind of how this all works. So in the frequency range of 5 categories, delta, theta, alpha, beta, gamma, it's 41 hertz. And each outcome is commensurate with a behavioral pattern. What you're speaking about is gamma. It's the fastest frequency of the human brainwave function. It's 39 to 41 hertz. You can't just jump to gamma. Nothing works like that. You can't just jump down to theta or delta either. It doesn't work that way. So everything is like you're going up and down an escalator. Okay, so we have a mathematical matrix. And so Ignite starts at 15 hertz, which is the low end of the learning zone, and you're kind of alert. And then it takes us about 9 minutes to amplify and elevate. And the last 3 minutes of every Ignite track we call pure warrior brain. At 41 hertz, cool things happen. Number one, your energy is insurmountable. Your endurance and your strength, you become unstoppable. Your mental acuity, there is no pain. You know, when you're biking, a couple minutes in, your quads start to hurt. And you're like, oh my God, this is painful. You don't feel it. Your peripheral vision increases, your olfactory increases, your gross motor cortex and your sensory motor, literally you can feel your musculature. Everything activates. It was, I think, 2019, Dr. Tom Allen, the highly decorated academician and doctor and former medical director at NFL, he called me up. He was 74 years old at the time. He's like, Jim, I love these fire files, he called them, because it had a flame on it. He said, I'm 74, Jim, and I just broke my PR for deadlift. This thing is insane. So to me, David, when we first launched this, it was in 2016, we built the physics platform. We started it a couple years prior, but we completed the physics and the math and the matrix. And then Tony Robbins, we were flirting with special forces and a couple sports teams. And I know Tony, so I called him and said to Tony, we're building something specific to special forces operators and professional athletes to elevate them on demand. Are you interested? Jim, send it to me. Let me check it out. So I do. I sent it to him. The track is 13 minutes and 47 seconds long. I get a call 16 minutes later. Jim, what the hell is this? I said, it's Ignite, bitch. He's like, I've never heard anything like it. I said, I know. It's crazy. And he says, what can we do? I said, I think we can do anything. He said, well, Ted Leonsis is my neighbor. Let me see if we can train the Washington Capitals together. So we flew up to Toronto, Canada, spent a few hours in the Ritz-Carlton in Toronto, and we trained the Washington Capitals together. Right. Now, Tony's a good human being, and he wants to serve. So what we did was we took all of the training, that 2.5 hours, on audio, HD. We cut 100,000 words and 240,000 syllables. We stitched it back together. We built a soundtrack on top of our physics. And at that point, in early 2017, we built the first and most powerful mind piece ever done. We took our patented physics. It doesn't exist anywhere else in the world. We put a soundtrack and Tony, an expert in NLP, and we put that on. We called it certainty. We called it absolute certainty at first. And we put it to the Washington Capitals, who ended up winning the Stanley Cup championship. Great. So the next year, March of 2018, Tony calls me up and says, Jim, we're going to train the Golden State Warriors together. I'm friends with Peter Guber. We're going to go to a hotel in Oakland. We spent 5 hours with the Golden State Warriors. Did that training. Did the same process. And that is called gratitude inside of priming. So you're literally listening with certainty in Ignite, in gratitude and priming. You're listening to us live in real time, training the best athletes in the world who went on to win their respective championships. I think, David, one of the coolest things about Ignite, which is different from rescue and deep sleep. In rescue, you're in a lucid dream state. Was I there? Was I not? Am I here? What time is it? In sleep, you don't know. You're sleeping. But in Ignite, you're awake. You're conscious, and a shift happens. When I first started listening to it, I was like, how the hell are we changing my entire physiology with a pair of headphones and software? At one point, Tony actually called me. I was at my kitchen table. I had my shirt off because I had a single lead ECG device in my heart. We're constantly testing stuff. And Tony's calling me, and my wife taps me on the shoulder, and I have headphones on. She says, "What are you doing?" And I said, "What?" She said, "You're sitting here and you're pounding on your keyboard and you're breathing like, I wasn't even aware. I was in such a state. I wasn't aware of any of it. So Ignite is not to be taken lightly. And the only caveat we tell people, because everybody's epigenetics are different and your tolerance for intensity is different. But if you start to feel agitated, like you're over caffeinated, stop it. Because the resonance lasts longer after you turn it off. You're still integrating the science and the vibration after you turn it off. So Ignite, literally any time except for within 3 hours of bedtime, any time that you need mental acuity, absolute certainty in your heart and your soul and your mind, but your body to be amplified. So think about a special forces operator on a mission. We don't want that special forces operator to put himself in danger or the team in danger because they're confused, they're malnourished, they're acclimatizing, they're oxygen deprived. We want them on their training and accessing their muscle memory. There's a quote in sports, David, you're probably familiar with this, and that is, if you think, you stink. So our mind plays tricks on us and it changes our muscle memory. You can't be making poor decisions and confused what the mission is when you have 11 other brothers on your team and their safety is banking on your ability to perform. So this physics literally is used in the comms of warfighters and the FBI hostage rescue team in the mission. That's intensity.
Wow. Wow, that's amazing. I just have to say again, I've said this before. I never realized how often I could use it. And once you break through and you go, okay, I just did it for 8 hours and 19 minutes and slept all night. 8 hours and 19 minutes. I got up. I'm going, throughout my day. I put focus on my headset. I'm in front of my computer. It's just literally amazing at the top of my brain and my game. And then all of a sudden I got rescue in the afternoon. I go on my mountain bike at night, when it's light out in the summer here, coming up to the summer, and I get the Ignite. And it's just like, if you had told me I would use it for that many times a day, I wouldn't have believed you. You have to change your habits. Is that true?
You have to change your habits. You have to find out what works for you, and you have to understand you have a predictable tool in your pocket. For me personally, I'll give everybody kind of this gift. I start my morning with Triumphant. When I get up in the morning, I have an exercise routine. I'm either swimming or I'm doing my Peloton or walking or whatever. And then after I shower and I come into my office, the first thing I do when I open up my computer and start looking at my emails is I put Triumphant on. Triumphant's 13 minutes long. It's our ode to Bach and Beethoven. It's not overly aggressive, but it amplifies and elevates my mood to prepare me for the day, right? So for me personally, I think NuCalm's on like 22 hours a day. It's not in the shower. I should get a speaker in the shower. I use Focus all day long. Today, I'm going to tell you guys a little secret. Today, I did do 2 rescue sessions. Last night, I lectured to a group of doctors and neurosurgeons and psychologists in Indonesia to about 11:20 last night. And then this morning, I was up at 5:30 and I was on a Zoom in a suit at 6:30 with a group in India, some physicists, triple PhD physicists. So today, I was like, wow, I'm a little tired. Two rescues. So rescue, focus, ignite, deep sleep. Power nap is one of the programs. I don't use it much anymore because I will if I have 20 minutes, I'll choose rescue. And flow state, I don't use that often. To be honest with you, I'm more interested in ambition, survival, and high productivity efficiency. Flow state is brilliant for the creative arts. It's brilliant for people who want access to their subconscious mind in a relaxed state. But I'm not penning poetry and writing music. I'm taking over the world through stress management. So my goals are a little different.
We're having a discussion about changing our mental state on command and to one of the 8 tracks, and we just pick it. It's so surreal. how do I want do I want the focus? Do I want the power nap? Do I want the rescue? NuCalm delivers it. It's like a movie,
Yeah.
it's like a futuristic movie, but it's here, it's today. And SocialX has the exclusive in the world, the only one company in the network marketing and sales space.
It'll
I mean,
become commonplace in 100 years, maybe 150. This genesis and this time and seminal moment of us bringing technology so profound won't be a novelty. It just won't. But you're right. All right. So I think one thing that would help folks is let me walk you through a day in the life, let's say, of a hockey team, because we're in the Stanley Cup playoffs, and hockey's to me a little bit more fun to watch than basketball. Basketball, I don't know that they don't call traveling anymore, but they're running down the court and no one's dribbling anymore. So basketball has lost some of its appeal to me, but a hockey team. So you wake up in a hotel room and you're preparing to play. The first thing you're going to do, if you wake up feeling fatigued, you had a bad game last night, you gave up a winning goal, you got checked hard, a skate on your foot, whatever. They don't tolerate that. They'll get right back in bed and they'll do a 20-minute rescue or 20-minute power nap. As soon as you get up and you use the restroom and you just kind of level set and pay attention to your energy, if you don't feel ambitious to take on your day, you don't have to tolerate that. If you gave yourself 20 minutes, that 20 minutes changes the landscape of your day. So then they get up and they go about their morning routine, have their breakfast, stretch out, whatever they're going to do. On the way to the arena, practice, or whatever they're going to do, say they're going to do a skate around, they may entertain Ignite just to amplify and get their focus on. Then they're going to go practice. Maybe the skate around's an hour, they're running through drills. After that practice, they'll hydrate, they'll go into the trainer's room, gauze up, tape up, whatever they need to do. Then they will go back to their room and they will do rescue every single day in the afternoon post-training, because at 4 hertz and only in this state do you relinquish all lactic acid and inflammation in the body. The body naturally heals. I have not met a professional athlete. We've worked with over 79 teams and probably 1,000 athletes, UFC, tennis, Formula One, you name it. I have not met an athlete who was a monk. They're not going to get their state into that state without help. So they do the rescue piece. Great. Then they go about their afternoon, whatever it is, call their agent, talk to their kids, doesn't matter. And then as they're preparing, they will do Ignite on the way to the arena. Then they get their gear on. They're doing Ignite in the locker room, and then they go about their business and they perform. In between periods, they're lethargic, they're feeling a little bit, dehydrated, maybe they're getting beaten up pretty good. Ignite. That amplifies and elevates that energy and determination to get through it. Anybody who's played sports at a high level knows it's mental, man. When you're fatigued, fatigue makes cowards of us all. When you're fatigued, it's right here, right? And so you don't listen to what I call the itty bitty shitty committee. You tell that, hey, go home. We're winning today. After the game, they do their shower, they do their media, they get on the plane or they go back to the hotel. They may down-regulate a minute or two with a 20-minute rescue because of the way their bodies are built up, or they'll use Deepest Sleep Plus. That is the regimented routine of a professional hockey player, especially as we amp up and ramp up into the Stanley Cup Finals.
And a weekend warrior out there, it isn't a professional, but hey, we're professional human beings. And it's the same, similar, but we're not playing the big game. We're just playing the every day. We go to work's the game. Come home, the family's the game. What's the difference in the protocol for the weekend warrior versus
there are many weekend warriors, David, that think they're a microcosm away from being a professional athlete, and we've all met them before. We're like, wow, you're crazy. You're not even remotely close. If you think about athletics, it's the genesis and the foundation all begins with a balanced nervous system. Your nervous system is like a tank. It's like a gas tank. If you drive it and you drive it and you drive it and you're running on empty, you don't have resources to pull from. So a balanced nervous system is the starting line for everybody. College athlete, high school athlete, pee-wee football, weekend warrior. It doesn't matter. So every person should be giving themselves the baseline of that nervous system balance with rescue every day and deep sleep at night. But any athlete will become a better athlete on the way to the athletic field by listening to Ignite. Period. Game over. It doesn't matter. I can't tell you how many anecdotal stories I get or videos. One of my friends in Utah just sent me a video of his daughter wrestling in the state finals in Utah, and she's sitting in the bleacher right in front of him, and she got Ignite on, and she's ready. When we did the recovery lounge at the U.S. Open, we've been there 7 years in a row. First, we didn't even entertain Ignite because we thought tennis aggression didn't seem to make sense, and everybody did rescue, and they loved it. This was 7 years ago, so 2019. And then we said, you know what? Maybe after they do rescue, maybe they want to amplify with Ignite. We didn't know. They knew. So guess what they do? Now it's a regular routine there. And it was Bianca Andreescu who wiped the court with Serena Williams. Serena did rescue. Bianca did rescue. Bianca did Ignite. Serena didn't. Serena never got out of second gear. She got wiped out. And you could literally see it on the court. You're like, holy cow. Ignite even with auto racing. We worked with the German auto racing Le Mans team. We never thought, but they were literally monitoring everything. They were like, Ignite is putting these drivers in the zone, and it's relinquishing the fatigue. So it's funny, and you've already alluded to this, how you want to be is up to you. The tool is right there in your pocket. You want energy? You want to dominate? You want to show up on the soccer pitch on a Sunday afternoon in a 40 or over league? You want to play, flag football? When I was in graduate school, I literally thought I was still Roger Staubach. I was playing lights out. And it's the days after that you're so filled with information. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna not go to class today. I can't walk. Anyway, it's really up to you, but it doesn't matter the level of athleticism. It matters your determination to get the most out of your talent. NuCalm is not going to take a weekend warrior and make you a professional athlete, right? I've been around enough athletes. David, you're an athlete. I wrestled for 20 years, did martial arts for 20 years. I know what it means to compete at a very high level. I don't understand the competition at that level. Literally, it's millimeters, and it's amazing. And it's all here. When we were working with the Miami Dolphins like 15 years ago or 14 years ago, I remember talking to safety, and I said, dude, how's your body feel? He's like, yeah, it's banged up. My knee hurts, this and that. I said, but how's your mind? I know you got burned last week on Monday night for a touchdown in overtime. And he looked at me and he was not happy with the question. I said, hey, no judgment here. That's a hard pill to swallow. How would you like to erase that from your memory and get back to your training and your muscle memory? That's the power of cleaning the slate with rescue. So there's a paradigm here that's really simple, and it resonates across all walks of competition. Balance your nervous system and give yourselves the capability to extract all the resources you need when you need them. Right? Wrestling was an amazing sport. I love wrestling. I miss it every day. But I'm telling you, back then in the days, in the 80s, it was 6 minutes, 3 2-minute periods. I was tall. I was 6 feet, 138 pounds as a senior. And I never wrestled anyone taller, but I never wrestled anyone weaker. But boy, lactic acid just sucked the oxygen out of them. I would look at my opponent and be like, hey, how's your brain holding up? Because I know you can't breathe under there and your brain is going cross-eyed. So you have to have that resilience and sleep in preparation for any sport. Then on the way, activate your mind with Ignite. My daughter was a competitive gymnast, an amazing gymnast, a gifted freak of a gymnast. When she was 7, they were recruiting her for the Olympic female gymnastics team. Oh, wow. It's a big question to ask. And I said, no. And they were like, no? I said, well, I'm not, that keen on the laws of probability. There are 338 million Americans, and there's 5 girls that make the team. I don't like the numbers, so no thank you. Fortunately, I made that choice because she grew up and her growth plays, but she was a freakishly gifted gymnast. On the way to competition, Delaware, Pennsylvania, Jersey, we'd be listening to Ignite in the minivan, and we'd be flying through. So I'm a wrestler, right? I want to step on your throat and I want to choke you out.
That's the unfair advantage.
It's incredible. It's incredible. So my wrestling mentality is different than gymnastics. I want to put literally my foot on your throat and choke you out.
Right,
It doesn't work like that in gymnastics. So we show up and I'm ignited and she's ignited.
Yeah.
And I'd be looking at, so who's your competition? She's like, it doesn't work like that, Dad. I said, oh, yes, it does. So the choice for you as an athlete, start with rescue, start with deep sleep, start with balance, start with lowering inflammation, start with removing lactic acid. Give yourself the foundation where you can pull from, right? Then use Ignite as you see fit. It will do amazing things for your endurance, your strength, and your mental fortitude to get through the pain.
Beautiful. Thank you. Jim, it's all right here. Oh, you can't see it on right here on your phone. It's the most amazing thing. You pick what you want and NuCalm delivers it. It's just fantastic. I want to thank you. Thank you for being here tonight. And for everybody who's listening, Jim Poole, CEO, Solace Life Sciences, parent company for NuCalm. We have an incredible opportunity, and I just encourage everybody, seize the moment, and the moment is now. So
hey, everybody. Before we leave, let me just say one thing.
Yeah.
We're the best in the world at what we do. We have the only patented, clinically proven solution in the world. 36 years. We're great at building solutions for the brain. You're great at what you do. This marriage, Social X and NuCalm, couldn't be better. Taking thousands of people who have a gift of sharing, educating, and caring, want to build a business and some independent financial wealth while helping people build health. This is an amazing opportunity for you to take the only product of its kind. There is nothing like it in the world, period. Nothing. And so take this opportunity. And here's one thing that has always humbled me. The physics and the math is just that. Yeah. It will never not do its job. You put an eye mask on and a headphone at minute 4 of Rescue 20 VT, you're at 4 hertz. Yeah. It doesn't matter who you are. So that will always profoundly just humble me, because I'm like, I can't even believe that this can do this for the entire population. That's the beauty of what this does. It will never let you down. So go change the world and go help a lot of people.